Okay, welcome back, Arcade, and we're back with another part. I hope you can hear me all right. I noticed my microphone was rather quiet during my Super Soldier expose videos on Mr. Max Spears, James Casbolt, Kerry Cassidy, and more. But the videos are still watchable, so if you want to go back on my channel and have a look at them, I'd say it's totally worth it. I've had nothing but good feedback from it. But today we're going to have to cover something pretty damn serious. As you may know, I've interviewed both MC Griff Truth and Justice and everyone who's been working on exposing the grifters, or grift busting, if you will. I've been working with them as well. I'm a member of the group. I'm proud to be a member of the group. I'm actually in two groups, the Grift Busters group and another one. And basically, we're going to talk about the 30 reasons that M didn't trust Charlie Ward. And the one specific reason that seems to be hot topic right now. Basically, everyone who came up through this man, I don't trust. I'm sorry, but if you've been a guest on his show, I no longer trust you. I tried to warn you all that you were surrounded by wolves, the ones who I think are innocent, and I do think there are some that are innocent and completely brainwashed, but they won't listen. And I've said this since I've been talking about the New World Order and stuff, since I first woke up back in 2012, that if people had listened, then maybe we wouldn't have been led into this mess in the first place. And now we're in a mess in YouTube where half of the people think that everything that came up through Digital Warriors is the truth community. However, I would say that is the misinformation / disinformation community. They constantly move in the goalposts, even the ones who promised they won't anymore. They demand action. The action never happens. The most action that's happening is Trump playing golf on the golf course. So I'm just going to share the screen real quick, and we're going to get into number 19. And we're also going to get into how Charlie has backtracked on his statement. So here's number 19 for y'all. This probably will make you sick.
19. Charlie procured underage girls for pop stars on the Top of the Pops. This is disgusting, and I'll let him explain.
Now listen closely, very closely. None of these people who are on the round table question it. Even Mr. David Nino Rodriguez, who's apparently responsible for the whole pedowood thing, you know, he made a video exposing the Hollywood elite people. So not even him questioned it. He laughed it off. But you can clearly hear Charlie. He's about to say that these 5 to 10 girls that he is taking onto the show every week are underage. However, he realizes, bites his tongue at the last minute and switches it to the words young girls. Now, here we go.
Really? Many years ago, I was involved with a certain television personality that allowed me access into the BBC. I used to be able to get onto a very famous program called Top of the Pops. And a lot of the girls would say to me, Charlie, get me on Top of the Pops. And I could take probably 5 or 10 girls on a week. And I said, well, I'll take you on, but you'll end up having to shag with the bloke that, if you know, he'll probably want to shag. And they were like, no problem, we come, you know. And there was never a problem.
Right.
Now, 30 years on, and their marriage is dissolved and they're in their 50s and 60s, it's suddenly become a problem. It wasn't a problem all those years ago.
Right, exactly.
And I remember these girls saying, I'm quite happy to come there. So I'm very, very careful. Now, there is a lot of bad things going on for definite. And there was bad things going on there because a lot of these girls were young girls, you know.
See?
And back in the sort of 80s, I didn't think anything of it. The moral compass was out of sync, I think, then.
Number 20.
So we had Rodriguez there, sat there, smiling, nodding, right. We also had, I think it's Prime Minister, sat there, nodding, smiling. Not one of them asked a question to this man. Surely you'd say, okay, so it was the 80s, it was a different day. Maybe these women haven't complained until they were adults because they were suffering from PTSD, just like in the cases you've heard about with Jimmy Savile. It might not have even been Jimmy Savile. I don't know who was presenting it when Charlie was procuring those girls, but he definitely said they were under young girls. Yeah, you heard him switch it at the last minute. They were underage, is what he was going to say. I mean, talk about shooting yourself in the foot. And I'm going to go into this now, which is where he backtracks on his comments. It's done by another brilliant channel, Mr. Bozohead. I've been a fan of his work for some time now. And this is just the mirror effect. Like he says here at the top, M. Seeker, who was the person who discovered this fact from Griftbusters, and Charlie Ward backtracking on his top of the pop supply claims. Here we go.
Number 19 from the 30 Reasons was, that's what caused a lot of the controversy. Number 19. Charlie procured underage girls for pop stars on the top of the pops. This is disgusting, and I'll let him explain.
Really? Many, many years ago, I was involved with a certain television personality that allowed me access into the BBC. I used to be able to get onto a very famous program called Top of the Pops. And a lot of the girls would say to me, Charlie, get me on Top of the Pops. And I could take probably 5 or 10 girls on a week. And I said, well, I'll take you on, but you'll end up having to shag with the bloke that, he'll probably want to shag. And they were like, no problem, we come, And there was never a problem.
Right.
Now, 30 years on,
Dave knows.
and then their marriage is dissolved, and they're in their 50s and 60s, it's suddenly become a problem. It wasn't a problem all those years ago.
Right, exactly.
And I remember these girls saying, I'm quite happy to come there. So I'm very, very careful. Now, there is a lot of bad things
What
going on.
were those age numbers again?
And there was bad things going on there because a lot of these girls were young girls, And back in the sort of 80s, I didn't think anything of it. The moral compass was out of sync, I think, then.
Like, guys, that was massive. Like, he's going to be about saving children in tunnels. He literally admitted that he used to take underage young girls onto the set, the BBC set, Top of the Pops. Around that time, Jimmy Savile was the host of Top of the Pops. However, I think mid 80s it changed to another host. Could have been someone else. Who knows? There's lots of...
It was somebody else. He would have known better and been savvy enough to say that it was the other guy. He would have said Top of the Pops. Not that he.
Well,
everybody knows who Jimmy Savile is in England.
It's like to say, one of the first things that I noticed that I hadn't noticed before, and I've watched that clip a few times, is that he says 5 to 10 girls a week. Now, I don't know what type of time period he's speaking about, but that seems like a lot of girls, mate. And I can't imagine he's speaking about taking the same girls every single time, you know what I mean? So, what?
Even if it's 6 months, that's a hell of a lot of girls, a hell of a lot of underage young girls. That's a hell of
2 weeks, 5 to 10 a week, and you've got 20 who
2 weeks. It's a long time.
Really, like that. How? You know, because he said 5 to 10. You know, it's at least 5 to 10, and that's enough for him to be like a prolific procurer in most people's eyes. You know, I mean, if you've delivered 5 to 10 girls to the hands of one of these people, mate, you're pretty sufficient in this, yeah.
One underage girl is too many, right? Surely.
And I'm sure that some of the girls that went with him were totally fine with it, have had no problems with it, you know, and were of age, you know. But that's not what we're talking about here.
Okay, so let me just quickly say that this is the real truth community. Big up Tony from the Veritas Machine. Big up Will from Cold Beer Confessional. He was just at his channel, stopped for a little bit. No, it might just be on Facebook, I'm not sure. But I remember reading something about it. M. Seeker, who you all know by now, and Justice, who we all know and love by now. So this is the real truth community. I'm not saying just those 4 people. There are plenty of us. Check out my friend Sarah's channel, No Ordinary Life 7. So plenty of good information on there. Lots of people are exposing this now. And the ones who aren't have distanced themselves from Mr. Ward because they've realize that it's Mr. Fraud and there's a lot of bad stuff going on surrounding this dude. You know, I'm not the one out here firing accusations. I'm just showing you what I've seen. And if you ask me, it's shady as hell.
Right. So we can't get distracted on, oh, it was the 80s and everybody was just really coked out. That's not how it works with underage girls.
Let's look at his excuse now.
One guy did something, 30 things I don't know or don't trust about Charlie Ward. Great. Number one, you've never met me. Number two, you haven't got a name or a face. So I don't have any respect for your opinion when you don't have a name or a face. Who are you? Oh, I'm M. Oh, great. Brilliant. I'm C. But somebody was saying that something about Jimmy Savile and to do with paedophilia. And I said, well, first of all, I've never met him. I had gone to Top of the Pops, and I said I took two young ladies with me.
Top of the Pops. And a lot of the girls would say to me, Charlie, get me on Top of the Pops. And I could take probably 5 or 10 girls on a week.
I had gone to Top of the Pops, and I said I took two young ladies with me.
I could take probably 5 or 10 girls on a week.
You'll know as ladies, women like to be called young ladies. Well, this somebody interpreted it as like kids, and it wasn't. They were actually 25 years old when I took them.
And there was bad things going on there because a lot of these girls were young girls, you know.
Well, somebody had interpreted it as like kids, and it wasn't. They were actually 25 years old when I took them.
And there was bad things going on there because a lot of these girls were young girls, you know.
Man, well, he didn't even remember like what he'd said and what he was being accused about. He was like, all right, so let's
and this guy's going to tell you about Joe Biden.
I've still got their phone numbers since and obviously I've known them since the 80s. And obviously he had said, oh, they've gone away, now they're pissed off of me because their marriage is falling through. It's got their phone numbers and they've gone, oh no, you know,
I've got their phone numbers from the court papers. From the court papers, I've got their phone numbers. The court papers that made me leave for Spain.
It makes no sense. His defense makes no sense. You know, to what was exposed, he has.
Hello, I'd like to speak to Miss Plaintiff. Miss Plaintiff.
And is it like you say about it's not even an excuse. He's just exposed himself as a liar. That isn't any kind of an excuse. You know, excuses have to have some sort of logical basis to them. You don't tell us that you've been taking 5 to 10 girls a week to this thing that were under young, you know, and then say, actually, no, it was two 25-year-olds.
I'm going to let you use your own discernment as usual. You've seen what my opinion is now. If you're following anyone connected to that movement, like MK Ultra, she used to be an actress, you know. Nick Veniamin is a failed pop star. He's told he could have his career revived. He doesn't seem interested in Donald Trump.